Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts, and this is the Daily Energy with Tarot reading for the 9th of March 2021. It's what I put out to help support, guide, and inspire those who want to be or need to be supported, guided, and inspired. Take what resonates as it is general and leave what does not. I appreciate any of the comments and the dialogue that opens up there. I just love hearing from you all and hearing your perspectives. And liking, sharing, of course, always does help, and I appreciate everybody doing that. So take what resonates as it is general and ditch what does not. And we'll get into the bottom of the decks first. So we've got the major arcana, the hanging man, the hangman. This is talking about looking at things from a different perspective, lifting yourself out of the matrix for a moment, whatever matrix that might be, whatever situation that might be that you're in at the present time. As far as the collective stage, there's so much to lift yourself out from, to be able to see a different perspective. There's a preparation here with the energy of this card to say, get prepared for seeing things in a completely different light in order to be enlightened about them. From the collective stage point of view, for sure, things that you were thought were solid information, things that you were thought it was the solid way that reality was built up, or the types of beings that we are, or the types of beings, or how many different beings are actually here in this realm. And there may be a lot to do on today, being the 8th, regarding the government and actually the way that it's built up and the games that they play, and that the curveball today seems to be that many of you will be picking up on the fact that, oh, so they do actually play that game of putting out real information through various actors. So we feel like we've got a voice. It stops us from using our voice because we get complacent, feel like we're hearing our voice and at least it's being aired. Things like that, the depths of the games that they go to, this energy hooks you into being able to look at the script from the upside down position to create this enlightened halo regarding the situation, the hierarchy, the makeup of things. And that's coming in hugely for today. Now, in your individual life, of course, that's filtering down, and it is often we find ourselves in this card through the duality of either connecting with self so much that we reach this enlightened place, through spirituality, through meditation, through just connection with others, with self, with nature. And then the duality is that often we find ourselves in this position with the energy of this card when we're being severely pushed from outside forces and when we're having a bit of a tough time. And it gets to this breaking point, which I suppose is a good breaking point if you're being pushed and made to feel uncomfortable or unsafe in whatever way, to look at things from a different perspective. It forces a different part of your consciousness to come forward. It forces you to look at a situation more honestly. And this talks about being still in that focus, still in that observation, so that you can really absorb the multi-layers of information coming through to you, the multi-layers of things that are going on around you and within yourself. And so the hangman hangs comfortably, you know, he's enlightened and full of wisdom enough that he can not be triggered. He gets triggered into pausing, into being still, into being observant, rather than reactionary. And so this is a huge strength in this card for today and all days, but in particular today in your individual life. It might be a frustration to those around you today, because if they're wanting to, you know, garbage truck dump their emotions onto you, then and you're not allowing that to happen. You're retreating into this space, flipping things upside down and seeing things from a different perspective. A lot of you seeing through people and actually feeling compassion for them, even though you know they're trying to trigger you or trying to do you wrong or trying to steer you wrong. You have this wisdom about you, this heightened, enlightened state about you, that you actually can see where they're coming from. You can see their vulnerabilities and why they are being overreactive and overprotective of themselves. This is frustrating to them in a lot of cases for a lot of you today. And again, this is where your strength lies, to not be triggered, to not be put into that process of this tumble dryer of emotions and words. So it speaks of taking a step back, being still, being observant, and taking time out to reach your own enlightened state about whatever situation you're dealing with today, for sure. So on the bottom of the other deck, we've got the King of Cups. Now, the King of Cups is all about balanced emotions, showing compassion, but doing it in a very wise way, you know, not putting the emotional self into situations that are damaging to yourself or the people around you. It's a fatherly-like energy. It's a divine masculine energy that is forceful, but forceful in a loving, compassionate way. And so this goes really well for those of you that are dealing with people who are feeling very emotional and reactionary today, alongside this hangman. It speaks of you being able to create that balance and that harmony within self, regardless of what's going on around you, and taking that authority as the king over the emotional self, over the emotional aspect of self, and not be coerced into being reactionary or over emotional. And so the first card speaks of this with the Seven of Wands. So this is, if this speaks to you, or you're just witnessing this of, well, as far as the collective, there's a lot of defensiveness today. This has been, you know, through very clever, layered attack, being manipulated and coerced within many people to be divided, to be reactionary towards one another, to be accusationary and, you know, wanting to blame somebody else. And of course, that indoctrination has been going on in the background, and you know, implanting through the various sides of society the name or the color of the ones to blame. And so this really is, on the collective stage, we're seeing the progression of this division that is, it's so annoying, because it's exactly what they want. It's exactly what they want to create. It's exactly what they've planned to create over this time period. We see it today in America in a great deal. That plan, that infiltration of America that has been happening for many years now, through the hands of what we would call the royal family, and the various people above them, the various beings above them, and the various people around them. Very much so, America has been a cash cow for these people. And now it's time, in their eyes, for the changing of the guard, the changing of arms, the changing of the power. They've done enough work through the education system, through the generations that they've pumped out through that, of people who are willing to do the bidding of the government. They've done enough work by infiltrating the layers of government, the layers of politics, and the layers of authority. And so now today we see, for some reason, something's going to spark this divisiveness, this separation, this divided nation. And we see people being in defense. As for you in your individual life, the people that are resonating with this is that on the other part of that is that very cleverly all of these games seek to cause people who are looking within self, doing the inner work, being of high consciousness, to shine like a light does to a moth to a flame. And these are flames, these are wands, 7 of wands. You're on a higher ground, you're in a higher consciousness. You're very passionate with these red trousers in the root chakra area. You know who you are. You're very confident in your own identity, and this creates a light. This creates something odd amongst people right now and for a long time, because there's not enough people doing that. There's not enough people knowing thyself. There's not enough people being confident in their identity. And so those that are shine like a beacon today, and there's this need to defend yourself from certain attacks, certain attentions. Now, this isn't all bad, because a lot of this attention is also good attention, passionate attention, you know, supportive attention. But at the same time, there are people who are jealous, who are reactionary towards the success of knowing thyself within you. And so this is something to be aware of. It's something to be careful of, for sure. I feel like for a lot of you, it's going to highlight a few people that need to be let go of, that need to be, there needs to be some distance created between you and them. There's nothing to serve there right now. As far as the UK, I feel like there's something going to come out today that really does put a nail in the coffin, so to speak, as to what a lot of the people are going to put up with. It feels like it's got to do with schooling. It feels like it's got to do with the education system. It feels like it's got to do with children in general. And so I'll keep an eye out for that. But if you guys hear anything, leave something in the comments, because I love to know. And with all of us looking at different things, we can bring more information together for each other. We've got the 10 of Swords to clarify the 7 of Wands. There's something about Australia today as well that is announced. I don't know if there's going to be another accusation towards a politician, a police officer, regarding some kind of attack from the past. They'll publicize this a lot if that's the case. So this brings around the 10 of Swords. So the 10 of Swords is a tough cycle. It is at that point where people often say, I've got so many swords in my back, you've put so many daggers in my back, there's actually no more space. So what are you going to do? What else can you do? You know, and it's at this point, at this breaking point almost, that people can rise up to the 7 of Wands to say, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to defend my position. I'm not going to be egotistical about it. I'm not going to be aggressive about it, but I'm going to stand my ground. I know my hill. I'm not questioning whether I'm going to die on this hill anymore. This is enough is enough. The 10 being the ending of a cycle, the opening for the beginning of a new. And so, yes, this might be frustrating that you're feeling the need to defend, but I feel like it's rising into a position of authority, of knowing thyself even more and even more confidently, enough that you will stand on your hill and defend your ground, and put an end to this cycle that has been this endless dagger in your back from various different directions, you know, hard to keep up with. Now we've got the Judgment card as the next card, another major arcana. This card, I mean, I don't think I've pulled this card out as many times as I have over the back end of 2020 and this being 2021 now. You know, you've been listening to me for a while, a lot of you, and it's kept coming up, and it really is important right now that in the energy of the Judgment card, we keep revisiting this judgment point, and it's not allowing others to judge us. it's standing in our authority, knowing our direction, knowing our path, knowing our destination, our destiny, and being able to continuously stand in our tomb, our possibilities, and strip ourselves bare and be confident in that position. The vulnerability here that is shown in this card, but actually there's no fear of this vulnerability, because there's this confidence in knowing that you're reaching your path, your destiny, you're reaching a goal. And in this energy of this card, we ask ourselves, what serves us to take us forward, and what serves us to leave behind, to let go, to rot, and not even rot in a bad way, but in some cases, yeah, but to be mulch for the ground, for the fertilizer for the ground. It's all lessons learned, and that goes into fertilizing your next fruits, so to speak. And they're rising up out of this tomb very much like trees, looking up towards the sky. Now, this trumpet sound, we've talked about it quite a lot. Wayne's talked about it quite a lot, this hum. There's this very definite hum that many people are hearing. And it seems to me that it's very enlightened people that are hearing this hum, this vibration, this change in frequency. And it's like a calling, it's like a magnet. And a lot of us are feeling that, and feeling that strongly today. And in fact, as quick as the attacks come in, the more confident you get about really embodying the energy of the judgment card, and really letting go of what's held you back. There's a lot of eye-opening events today in individuals' lives that really does somehow, some way solidify the more expansive being that they knew they were deep down. It really does solidify a certain gift or knowing that you had or have about you in this lifetime, life itself, what a lot of it all means. And of course, we're all coming in with these different aspects, these different points of information, which is why I love the comments, because it's that open dialogue that allows people to embrace and enjoy other people's journeys among the same energies within the same lifetimes. So it really is talking about owning yourself today, and owning your power, owning your strength. Now, the Seven of Swords comes to clarify the Judgment card. Now, there's, wait, I finished, but there's a lot of sword energy here. So the Seven of Swords isn't a nice card. They're all pretty nasty energy cards as far as the swords go. The Seven of Swords is speaking about that has been stolen from you, taken from you in broad daylight. Intellectual property. Be careful about who you're sharing your ideas with, particularly going forward. Innovative ideas that you're going to market, or that you're going to try and patent or produce. Be very careful of that. Be very cautious of that. Keep that to yourself as far as you can. But it's more about, for a lot of you who are in relationships, friendships, loverships, you know, whatever the relationship might be, there's still a lot of weight that needs to be dropped there. There's still a lot of not willing to see that somebody is taking from you. Now, it's not necessarily something physical. These are swords, air. So by the words that they use, by the actions that they use, that they should be your biggest supporter, but behind your back, they're taking from you, they're whinging about you, they're trying to pull you down in other people's eyes in particular. There's still these people around, and there's still this reluctance to see, for a lot of you, who these people are. And actually the build-up effect, it seems like it's just small, and oh, that's how our relationship is, but actually energetically, I don't know what this rabbit's doing, energetically it's a build-up effect that is taking more than you know, and that is blocking your path to an extent, and blocking this knowing of thyself, taking authority over your own space. Spirit is loud and the bunny rabbit is loud. So we've got the 5 of Cups as the next card, and so this is speaking of you know, as far as the collective stage, first I want to mention this 7 of Swords particularly, is that these games that are being played on the collective stage, the amount of freedoms, and it seems silly to say because it's like, well, we know, but no, the level of freedoms that have been stolen during this time period of this gestational spell. No, bunny, don't chew the shoes. The level of theft of intellectual property, I feel like they've really done some works today, or solidified some works today, to lock down some of those innovative ideas that I was picking up on in 2020, to buy up the technology or to threaten those that can bring that technology to us. They want to be in control. They want to be in control of what's filtered out, and they want to be in control of who has access to it, which is very, very dark indeed. And the very people on the collective stage who are trying to be the most friendly, the most charismatic, the very people who are the saviors on the collective stage, so to speak, are the very people that have been helping process this, because it's good for business, for their business. And it's good for the plan as is. So yes, be aware of that also. Now, on the collective stage, it feels like with this 5 of Cups, and that's why I mentioned that, is that there are people that have been so innovative, so forward thinking, so Aquarian, like thinking outside of the box, thinking for the good of the collective, for the good of the group, that have been blocked down today. And it's sad. It feels like there is this, we were so close kind of energy, and it's so unfair that we're told we live in this free world. We're told we live in this place of freedom and innovative, technological based societies, yet people like this are blocked from bringing such great things for the collective. A lot to do with healing by light. I know that they know, I've seen it, and I know that they know that we can heal anything by light, by doing certain sequences. And I've seen these pulses and these sequences of light that coincide with the frequency and color of the chakra system, that would heal and regenerate and reprocess cells back into balance. And so there's that I'm feeling, and that is something that I would have raised a glass to, because I picked up on that way back in 2019 and 2020, and I can see it. I know that it's there, and I can feel these people who have managed to put it together in a package that could be used in the home and within hospitals. And it feels like for now, and I'm going to be putting energy into them being unblocked, so please do so too if you feel led to do so. But there's this energy of sadness where this block has happened, and so this is the 5 of Cups for that. That's what I'm picking up on mainly in the collective stage. The other thing, as far as the collective stage, as far as the collective itself, this separatism, this division here that we have, means that plans go ahead so much more easily, because different sections of society today are sad and affected for different reasons, and for different very valid reasons. But because they're not connected and not working as one, with other sections of the community. Nobody knows quite the full extent of how much sadness and how much mourning has been caused by these idiots in power and by this system, these beings and this system behind them. And so it's important that we do create dialogue, that we do connect, that we do mention what is going on in our sections of the community so that we can build a fuller picture. Because right now they stay under the radar and the plans keep going ahead because there's never that boiling point in one, well, not until it's too late, but in one section of the community, in one section of society, it's sort of shared out. Collectively, if everybody was talking and connected, group amongst group, then we would be able to see far clearer and far quicker just exactly what they're doing to break down these different sections of society. And that 10 of Swords would come a lot quicker. But instead of coming together under this 10 of Swords in the collective, there's this need to defend yourself because of this divisiveness. Very clever. So with the 5 of Cups in your individual life, it feels like, and can I speak frankly, and this is not from a place of judgment, this is from a place of being there many, many times, as we all do, and you have to snap yourself out of it. There's a bridge in the background, and there's water running under the bridge. There comes a point when we have to get out of victim mode. And that's not to say something hasn't really happened to you that would be depicted as you being a victim or described as you being a victim. That's not to say that at all. Nobody's denying whatever has happened to put you in this state of mourning, in this state of despair. But there comes a point where you have to, if you want to go forward anyway, in a good way, say it's water under the bridge. Otherwise, you carry this energy of mourning, you carry this energy of sadness, and it puts a mist, a haze on everything that you do. So even achievements feel, you know, you're happy that you achieved something, but then you have that mourning state, that victim state still. So you flash back to this, and so it's tainting everything that you do, because water isn't being allowed to run under the bridge. If you look at these cups, they're pointing in the direction of the river. Everything that was in there that was of good use, that was of wholeness, that was of things that would take you forward in a positive way, it's already emptied into the river. It's already actually physically long gone, because this is a fast moving river. But you're clinging onto it, you're clinging onto something, you're clinging onto some kind of wound that is holding you back. And it's for you to search out what that is, because this keeps coming up for people. And it really is, it feels emotional, but actually the emotions, the real, true, raw emotions are long gone. And because there's so many swords in this reading, it's actually veiled as emotional, but actually it's a mental thing. And you're putting yourself in a mental prison regarding whatever this is that has saddened you, that has broken you, that has put you in despair, or that is continuously putting you in this victim role. The 2 of Cups is always behind this figure. All it takes is, and I'm saying all it takes, again, no judgment, and I'm speaking from experience, and it's hard to see this when you're in this kind of situation, but all it takes is a different mindset for you to turn around, whip that cloak off, and pick up these 2 cups, which gives you everything that you need to go forward. It's your balance of your divine feminine, divine masculine. It is everything that you need to go forward. You haven't lost everything. You still have a lot to give to yourself and those around you. But it feels like some of you, I don't feel like I'm reading for a lot of you who listen to this regarding this card, although there are some of you, It feels like for the other portion of you guys, you're witnessing this to somebody, with somebody who is close to you, and you're just wishing them and willing them to snap out of it. You understand why they initially got here, why they initially got into this despair, and you can see the solution. You can see the 2 cups behind them, but they're in such a fog, in such a mental haze, that their emotions are blocked in this certain place. For a lot of you, it could, go around, or for the people that you're witnessing this in, around cheating, around some kind of adultery, around some kind of disappointment within a relationship, and also business. There's some of you that either this resonates with personally, or that you're witnessing this in somebody you care about, that they've put everything into their business. And that's how I say it's how you deliver it, because if you say you're being a victim, that's going to trigger somebody into either anger or even more despair. It's to recognize that something really did happen that is valid enough for you to mourn, for you to feel that despair. It's not to take away from that at all. It's actually to add to that, to recognize it, but then say, but in recognition of that, that doesn't override you and everything else that you are, everything else that you've achieved, everything else that you can achieve. It does not represent the endless possibilities that you are. And I speak that to people who resonate with this personally, and I speak that out via you guys as a conduit, hopefully, to those who you're witnessing feeling this way, because it's important to give that recognition, but it's important not to dwell on it. It's important not to stagnate on it. It's important to let that river flow again. And so there's some healing to be done here for sure, to unblock that emotional field, in whichever way it personally resonates with you or somebody that you're witnessing this in. And that will get that person back into flow. It'll get that person recognizing everything they have been on top of this situation, even before this situation, and even during this situation, and everything that they can be going forward. We've got the 9 of Swords to clarify this, and this is why I was talking about, actually, this is a bit of an illusion. The emotions are long gone that represented whatever it is, whatever the hurts and wounds that this represents. They're long gone, and actually it still feels emotional, but it is very much mental. And this 9 of Swords talks about this self-imprisonment, these nightmares, these sleepless nights, these thoughts that are punishing, and a lot of them coming through in the dream state. A lot of you might be having very nasty dreams, very violent dreams, very turbulent dreams, and might be having broken sleep also, for sure. Loss of appetite may be affected for some of you, but this is to say this 9 of Swords can't go on. And this is where, when we dwell in any energy for too long without mixing it up or balancing it out with other aspects of ourselves and being in flow, whatever element it is representative, then we do get poisonous to ourselves. We do stagnate. We do start attacking ourselves through not just our emotional self, but our mental self, which in turn starts to affect our physical self. The lack of sleep, the sleepless nights, the turbulent dreams. These dreams, if that part resonates with you, are coming to you to give you a message to say, there's stuff to sort out here. There's a reason that you're feeling not only defensive in the physical world, but in your dream state, that you're actually having dreams that represent you or somebody that you care for or cared for getting attacked. Very much about defense and getting away and trying to save others within these dreams would be for sure what I'm picking up on for a lot of people. And so this is super important to get this balance right, to recognize what you've mourning, what you've mourned. Now, the difficulty is with all of these cards combined with the Seven of Swords and the Judgment card is that some of you, I'm going to speak quite honestly, are dwelling in a situation that you know you've been through this judgment energy with this situation or this relationship or this business partnership for many times now. And you know intuitively what you need to let go of and what you need to move forward with. What you need to leave behind, and for whatever reason you're still staying in that situation. So this card keeps feeling very new and very raw because it's there in the subconscious of the situation. It's there in the subconscious of the equation of everybody involved in the situation. And so the Nine of Swords is representative of you stay here, especially when your intuition is telling you not to, especially when everything around you is giving you signs and warnings to get out of whatever it is that is holding you back. Then things will escalate. You know, you go from the Five of Cups to the Nine of Swords, and that's not an easy energy to handle or be in or be around. You know, it's the energy, if you stay in it too long, you inevitably, and it's not through anybody being nasty or callous, you inevitably start losing friends and family because, and again, it's not because they're being callous, but, you know, they're cognizant of the fact that they're drained of energy when they're around you. They and this might not resonate with you, but it might be that somebody is doing this to you. There's a void here because you're just looking in these empty voids. So people around you end up being in that void, and it's energy draining. And naturally, even subconsciously, people start steering away from you. People start, you know, having less conversations with you. So this is where, you know, the rubber can hit the road as far as your journey, as far as your path going forward, but there's a lot here that needs to be really, you know, thought about deeply and looked at deeply, and there needs to be a level of bravery here that quite frankly hasn't been shown yet, as to letting go of whatever this is representative in your life. I mean, the swords, we've got the 10 of Swords, sorry, the 7 of Swords, and then the 9 of Swords, all very punishing energies combined with those cards. You know, it feels like, yes, it might be people on the outside punishing, but more to the point, it's people punishing themselves, staying in a position or thought process themselves when they know that they shouldn't, when they know they should get out of it. So that's the reading for the 8th of March, I've dropped it, 2021. I appreciate you all listening and taking the time to come here and listen to me. I hope it helps you reach your highest potentials today and gives you the inspiration to go forward and create your abundance on every level and every aspect of you and your being and the people around you and the people that you care about, the people that you provide for. I've put out the intent to remove those blocks supernaturally, if need be, regarding these innovative ideas that would actually help heal people without the damaging effects that we have to put up with other procedures right now. And I'd ask you to combine with that intent and help me along there to help these innovators be unblocked for the good of the collective and for their good work. So I appreciate you all very, very much. Stay balanced and stay whole. Much love.